And welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame. And it's come down to this. Two of the top quarterbacks in the NFL facing down in a late December showdown. For the Bills, on the line, the ability to control home field advantage and a bye in the first round of the playoffs. On the other side, Cincinnati playing for the division, trying to avoid a winner-takes-all battle next week with the Baltimore Ravens. It's week 17 in the NFL. It's the Buffalo Bills versus Cincinnati Bengals, and we're coming at you. The top story this week, of course, is J.J. Watt retires so he can join the Bills. Dan, what do you think?
I think that is something that the Bills should not consider.
Is there any way that he retires from the Texans because he needs a Super Bowl to guarantee a Pro Bowl spot? He retires from the Texans so he can make it to the Bills just in time. I don't know. Hope springs eternal. We could use some pass rush against Joe Burrow is the only point I'm trying to make. J.J. Watt, best of luck. I think the top story around Buffalo this week has to be the storm. A lot of contention about the Bills coming in through a travel ban. I am happy that they're all home and safe. I have been very fortunate to be home and safe. Dan, has it been a difficult storm for you to get through?
Yeah, it's been pretty tricky here in North Buffalo. A lot of the roads still not plowed out, and it was weird for the Bills flying out a day early for the game, and then flying into Rochester and whatnot. But given the season they've had with one game already getting moved and all that, I think they've been handling it pretty well. So I don't think that'll impact the season or anything.
We tend not to look backwards to the game before, but it was really nice that the Bills allowed the game to stay competitive because a forced quarantine due to the weather was made a little bit shorter by a competitive football game from the Buffalo Bills. So thank you guys so much for that. Going forward, we have a big game expected to be very competitive. This is probably the game of the week in the NFL, matching up Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. Josh Allen having perhaps an MVP season. I know the fans in the stadium at the Dolphins game were chanting for it. Let's take a moment and talk about the season that Josh Allen's had. The top rusher on the team once again, clearly one of the best talents at quarterback. Not every game has been perfect, but he has demonstrated the ability to put the team on his back and carry them to victory when needs be. Dan, do you think as the season comes towards the end, is Josh Allen's case for MVP a legitimate one?
So I think Josh Allen has definitely had somewhat of it seems like an up and down year. Compared to last year, I think at this point last year, they were really, they were firing on all cylinders. They were looking their best, the 2021 season in December and January. So hopefully they can, they can pick up some more of that. Not that I don't think Josh Allen hasn't been playing well, but, I think, you saw in the Bears game where, it seemed like finally the run game had picked up with, Devin Singletary and James Cook definitely complementing each other pretty well.
I feel like we said that like 4 different times this season, that hopefully the running game has now picked up. So maybe this is in fact the time where it is consistent. This is a big game just in the standings this year, but I feel it's magnified last year because the Bengals ended up being the AFC champions. Do you feel that this is a continuation down the road of Bills like chalking up, things that had gone wrong for the franchise in the past couple of years of our playoff runs?
So I think there's definitely a lot of football left to be played, regardless of what happens this upcoming Monday. Not that I think this is going to be one of the biggest games of the regular season. Absolutely. With the Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, possibly Ravens working into there, that's a lot to be played for, and there's a lot still on the line. I do think that both these teams, it's very likely that both of them end up playing each other again in the postseason. So, I think this is definitely, you saw it last year with how the Bills had to go into Kansas City last year and weren't able to pull it out. And the same thing the year before. So for the Bills, I definitely think that having home field advantage, having the games run through Buffalo, I think is very important. Absolutely.
And the injury bug is something that has been trailing this team around. We still have some big name veterans who are going to be hurt, most notably Morse on the offense and Poyer on the defense. Are we just relying on depth to pull us through, or at this point is the next man up system work so well that we have no room to worry too much?
I think you've seen a little bit of, especially with the defense this year, where we've been relying a lot on our depth, where, it's looked decent sometimes and hasn't looked great other times, Trey White seems like he's been struggling a little bit as he's been coming back, but, he's got a few weeks into the playoffs, and I'm not too worried about that. We would definitely, you want Poyer in there. Obviously, we're undefeated with Poyer for what it's worth. Milano and Edmunds, them being in is very important. The Bills, it seems like they've been struggling a little bit when they haven't had their main guys in at linebacker. So I do think that the Bills have competent backups. I definitely think they need to do what they can to be healthy come January.
Focusing on the matchup itself, on the offensive side of the ball, the running game has looked better in the last game. We've signed Brown and Beasley back to the wide receiver room. How do you see the offense taking on the formidable defense of the Cincinnati Bengals this week?
Josh Allen is one of those guys where, like I mentioned earlier, although I do think he's struggled a little bit this season, he's had some cold streaks. He's the guy that he'll be the game changer. He'll be the guy that's going to make, even if he's having a bad game, he's going to make one crazy play, and then the Bills are going to pull it out. It always seems like, so I definitely think there's not many things that you can do to stop Josh Allen when he's on his game. So as long as he's on his game, I think they definitely have a better shot beating the Bengals. I think they're the better team.
The Bills are not the only team who favors passing the ball on the offense side of the ball. The Cincinnati Bengals are ranked like 26th or 27th for rushing. Also rely heavily on Joe Burrow. What do you think the defense needs to focus on to make sure that he's not able to take over the game?
You definitely want to get after Joe Burrow. He's a very accurate passer, but at the same time, you saw in his earlier years, with how bad the Bengals offensive line used to be, he was really struggling after, when he was getting hit like that. So, definitely, you want to get after him. This could be a good chance for Kaiir Elam. Possibly going up against some physical wide receivers, him being a physical corner himself. I definitely think that's going to be a big thing going up against, some of the really talented Bengals receivers.
It's going to be a beautiful night for football in December in Cincinnati. It's going to be clear and in like the high 50s. What do you think this game's going to come out to be? Would you have a prediction for the score?
Yeah, I think Bills, don't quote me on this, I think they're favored by 1, or they're underdogs by 1. Don't quote me on that, but it's going to be a close game, definitely. I think the Bills are going to pull this out. I'm going to say 26-24 Bills.
All right, go Bills. I have more confidence in the team. I'll say it's 34-27 Bills in a fun, exciting game to wrap up the non-division schedule. As for us here at Buffalo Bills Pregame, our schedule is here every week, and we'll be back in some form to wrap up the regular season next week as we get ready for playoff episodes. We'll be back, Buffalo Bills fans. Thank you, Bills Mafia, for being all season long. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you soon. Woo! Oh, I threw it over the mic camera.